Right, is there anybody else from the allotments here? No? You're all just observing us, say we've got the full crowd here, candidates. Welcome to the candidates. Thank you. Apologies for, we're going straight into the agenda now, so I'm going to take apologies for absence.
Councillor Jones.
Right,
Davey.
Susan Davey, and we've
Apologies
got,
for my lateness as well, Chair.
well, we've got Deirdre Campbell, and who was the other one?
Yeah,
Warren Bean as well. Okay, right, the minutes of the last meeting were approved by full council, but there was some actions arising from the previous minutes, so I'm gonna ask to hand over to Malcolm. I can tell you a bit about it.
Right, thank you, Chair. There's three topics I just wanted to touch on. There was allotment fires which were raised in the allotment public question time, which is further on the agenda in a few minutes' time. There was a defibrillator requested by residents in Newsham in the Portland Wind area. We did have some difficulties because the council don't own any land or light columns up there at the moment for where we put one. So we're in consultation with the developer, and as at today, you know, we're still waiting for some feedback on that one, but we are still pursuing it. We agreed on 2 new bus shelters, Brydale Road and Swaledale, I think it was. Those are being manufactured at the moment, and we hope to have them installed by the end of March, along with the other one on the lead up to the Broadway roundabout. So that's the update there, Chair.
Okay, the next one, does anybody want to comment or ask a question? No, Brian?
Yeah, that was just, I thought one was requested, about November time for opposite the Spa, Bridie Road.
That's the one I was.
Oh, sorry, you said Bridale, sorry.
Oh, sorry.
No.
Yeah, that's the one upset the Spa.
I get mixed up all the time.
I still get mixed up. I was saying to Kath, I've only been here 40 odd years, but I still get mixed up between them.
No.
It doesn't get any better.
You follow the competition.
Right, environment budget monitor report. There's 1 or 2 hicks in this. Malcolm, do you want to take up on that?
Yeah, I was going to say the report that's been produced, there is a problem with a couple of codes, but you know, I'm talking about there's one here on it's on the play area scheme. There's a little bit of a hiccup on the skate park scheme, but we are well within budget on that, despite where it looks there. But and I'm going to be covering that later on in the agenda.
Right.
So,
Okay, so that topic will be covered once we get into the agenda.
yeah.
Unless anybody's got any questions, I'll move on. Okay, decision report, the bus shelter improvement in Blythe. Just to ask to note the progress that officers are making towards this, which is really good. I'll hand over to Stephen.
Yeah, obviously the report as presented, just were a couple of points to it. Given the time scale, the officers became aware of the fund and we've quickly identified 5 shelters, 5 new shelters and 5 replacement shelters for the application. The total application was for £105,000. But given the timescale, we have had a discussion with the relevant county council officer, and there is a degree of flexibility in the selection of the shelters in the town. So if the funding bid was successful, obviously we could bring it back. We'll bring it back to the council for a decision.
Any comments or questions? Daniel and then Brian.
Could members just be circulated which bus shelters it is, Chair, in an email to all members?
Say that again, sorry.
Could all members be circulated which bus shelters it is, please?
You can't do, I would imagine you can't do, Malcolm.
It's only indicative, and it shouldn't be used for anything. It's just we had to put in 5 locations. Now, those locations don't actually, they've obviously got a value because they are on a street, but it's just we had to put 5 locations in. So you might, as members, you might see 5 locations, but they aren't necessarily the 5 places that they're gonna be. It would have to be brought back for discussion.
So what he's saying is we're taking into account all bush shelters, but out of all of them, there'll be 5, there's like 5 bush shelters, so,
Yeah.
all right, is that all right?
Yeah, thank you.
Right, Brian?
His answer, I was gonna ask if it was gonna be the ones on Tidedale Drive that have been graffiti.
It could be any one of them.
No, it's absolutely, he's answered the question, but I appreciate that.
No, that's great.
Thank
Thanks for that,
you.
all right?
Cheers, Gav.
Number 6, decision report on allotment fires. So who's this? Is this Stephen?
Yes, yeah, busy on that first meeting tonight, but obviously, again, the report as presented, obviously, currently, the allotment fires are allowed between the 1st of October and the 31st of March. Obviously, the committee is now to obviously consider all year round burning of bonfires in the town. Obviously, the request came from Blythe Smallholding Allotment Association recently. But obviously, I think just things to consider, obviously more fires in the summer, obviously in terms of people sitting outside, obviously we need to consider some caveats when obviously fires are burning towards properties. Obviously other towns, obviously we could consider no fires at weekends and bank holidays. And I think just to highlight there's nothing legally stopping this, but I think obviously a change in policy if the council do decide to do that, obviously it would be, from a trial period and see actually how things go.
So as the allotment holder, do you understand that about allotment fires?
I do understand, and I have got quite a contention with that actually, because it seems ridiculous that you can only have fires in the winter time when there's no like vegetation to absorb the CO2. And during the summer when there's plenty of vegetation, you can't burn fires. But I would say it would be a good idea to have fires when there's only when there's no holidays. Holiday times, I don't think we should actually have fires, because I know it's really convenient for the people who've got the allotments, because
Right.
you've got to consider the people in the community.
Right, can I just stop you then? All I'm going to say to you is, will you speak to your, the association, because they are the ones that's brought this to this council.
Can
So-
you ask the question?
Sorry?
You asked the question.
Yeah, I know I did, but what I'm saying is, if you've got any comments or complaints, we'll take on board our side of it, but you need to be speaking to the association as well.
We'll have spoken,
You have,
and they should have been here to make the point.
yeah.
But you asked me what my opinion was,
Yeah.
and I gave it.
Well, I'm pleased I've asked you to ask you to see your opinion,
Okay.
because that's what it's about. It's about the allotments.
Right, thank you.
And we're here to help you as much as we can anyway. But this is what's getting fed back to us. So as an allotment holder, you're not part of the committee. I just wanted your opinion on it. Okay, thank you very much for that. All right. Right. Sorry,
No, I was just gonna say, Chair, I don't know your name, but I agree with the gentleman in the crowd.
Mhm.
I think you've got to have some sort of restrictions at certain times for families, otherwise, we might as well just kept Black Power Station pumping out, all year round.
So just to
Right.
clarify, this is going on a trial basis for a year.
yeah.
So it would be throughout the whole year, but not weekends or bank holidays.
Mhm.
Is that what we're saying?
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it says there 365 days a year, that needs to be reworded.
Yeah, so it's not 365 days.
So could we have that reworded?
I think the
It's the
decision, obviously, as most of you probably know, I've come from Ashington Town Council, and obviously what Ashington Town Council do is, they allow it all year round apart from Saturdays, Sundays and bank holidays. So obviously that would be, something to consider. Obviously, as the gentleman quite rightly pointed out, between families, at weekends and bank holidays. So obviously that would be a consideration for the council, to have it all year round, but not Saturdays and Sundays.
But I'm going to bring Malcolm in here. Can I just bring Malcolm in first, Sam, if you don't mind? And then Brian.
It's just for clarity, particularly allotments. The bit at the top is that we consider the request to change the current policy. The request was actually made for 365 days a year. So we've started at the top, 365 days a year. Within the report, which the members have got and will be discussing,
Yeah.
we're saying, if you do want to change the policy, you have got to recognise the fact that you might have there might be a garden 20 yards away where the wind's blowing and they've got children's clothes out to dry and so on. So we are saying to the members, if you want to bring it in during the summer as well, you want to be considering certain factors which we've outlined in the report. So over the next few minutes, these good people will be discussing all of that and coming to a consensus as to the way forward. It might involve non-Saturdays and Sundays for burn, it may not, but this is the discussion that you're going to hear next.
Well, one day, yeah, going back over, Monday was your wash day, wasn't it? So nobody put anything out, you didn't get your calls in on a Monday, you always got them in on a Tuesday. So it's going sort of that, it's about respect and it's about consideration for other people of what day of the week they do things. Okay? Thanks.
Am I allowed to say one other thing? I would think a caveat would be good as far as wind direction is concerned as well. But I've got a situation where in the leisure centre, we've got smoke alarms. If somebody has a fire and a smoke's going over there, it's going to double the alarms up. So we should be
Right.
also, that should be part of your caveat. You don't mind me saying.
Right, okay, we'll take all that into consideration. Right, so we're moving on and I'm not gonna let you speak anymore. Ryan. Sandra,
I mean, we seem to be not actively encouraging composting, which happens towards the end of the year, really, when you've got all your dead vegetation. If you're burning dead vegetation, you get more smoke than you would if you were burning dry wood, obviously. So I think we should try and have a parallel thing where we do encourage people to compost more.
yeah, that's you're right. Ryan,
How would this coincide with the clean air policy that's from county council?
how would this what?
They co-work with the clean air policy that's in with Northumberland County Council.
You mean with the climate change?
Well, just clean air.
Thing, yeah.
The county council allow bonfires on allotments. It's more when you get down to, the burning of coal and sea coal and stuff like that, that's more of an issue. But certainly they allow it ordinarily. It's just more the smoke, the zone's more like a domestic commercial type of thing.
I think it's obviously white smoke, the garden waste.
Yeah,
So how is this policed and how is it enforced? And what are the consequences of going against whatever?
maybe
Well,
to the association, right?
Well, this would apply not just to the association who made the request, it would apply to everybody. Now, we don't have any, complaints of any material number, even when we do allow bonfires. So we don't, at this point in time, anticipate that situation getting any worse. But it's like everything else. If you have a set of rules and you tell people and they don't comply with it, you have a word with them. But if they ignore it, we do have the threat of tenancy termination as well, which would have to be very strict. And people, the various parts of the website and Facebook we've got, people are quite good at writing in about litter bins but I dare say they'll do that as well. If anybody breaks the caveats that were put in place, and they'll come back on that, then we've got to get out straight away and monitor it.
Yeah, it's sorry, I just see the difficulties of, you might as well make it 365 days a year because the ultimate sanction you've got is taking someone's allotment from them if they break the rules, which is fair enough. But what's the burden of proof? So I see, the guy in the allotment next to mine, I cannot stand him. So I send you a message saying this guy is burning stuff every day. Are you going to believe me, or are you going to, when he turns up and you ask him and he says, "Well, I don't do that." It's just, if you're going to create a rule, and you haven't got any sanction, and there is no burden of proof, you're just building them up, you're just building bureaucracy into the system, aren't you?
Mhm.
I'm not saying, you know, we do need to do something, but all I'm saying is that when you introduce it, then how are you gonna make people comply? And if they don't, if the only sanction you've got is, I mean, that's a bit savage, that, isn't it? You know, somebody starts a fire on a Sunday and everybody agrees if they did. And you say, well, you know, that's it, they're gonna take your allotment off you. I think that's a bit draconian. So,
Just, we've already got a rule, haven't we?
yeah. And does
So if
anybody
anyone breaks
break
the
it?
rule, the only thing we can do is.
Yeah.
remove them from the allotment.
When was the last time we sorry, Chair, when was the last time we took action against somebody for breaking that rule?
In my time here, we've never taken that
No,
action
we've
because
never
there
had.
hasn't been the need for taking any form of action against somebody.
I think this is the fact they're changing it all year round rather than just the winter time.
Yeah.
So rules haven't been broken in the winter time, so I suppose this is like a trial for a year to see how it works. And if rules are broken, then it will be dealt with, so we're gonna go towards that if, when and needed.
I don't, you know, absolutely no problem with doing whatever you want,
Mm.
but it's the consequences of people breaking the rules
Yeah.
then.
Well, there's rules there already, so if they break the rule as it's going through the whole year now, then
Okay.
we'll just act on them rules.
Can I ask one more question? and
You
then I
can, then
promise
you
I
can
should be
shut up.
quiet. The rules we have at the moment, are they 7 days a week, or are they not allowed to burn at weekends?
I think it's at all times, isn't it?
It's within that period, 1st of October to 31st of March,
31st.
so it's every day.
So at the moment,
It's free
in the
to
winter,
weekends.
people can set fire, burn rubbish on their allotments on a Sunday or
Yeah.
a Saturday,
Yeah.
or a bank holiday.
That's 365 days a year it's got in here.
And as far as we can tell, no one's complained. We don't know if any, well, you can't break the rules really if you can do whatever you like. So it's just be careful. I mean, because if you can, 7 days a week for 6 months, you can burn rubbish. And what we're saying, sorry, not rubbish, vegetation. And what we're saying is, one of the proposals is to allow it throughout the year, but not at weekends. So that's kind of, you know, I guess most people work on their allotments at the weekends, so.
I think this is something that you brought up, Brian, wasn't it, about the 365 days? Yeah,
Chair,
sorry, John,
what we're doing here though, we're just falling into line with what Ashton does already.
yeah,
We're
Yeah,
going
we've got-
to,
we've
talk
got
the
to
same
fall in
rules
with
as
what
what the
Ashton
parish council does.
Yeah, we've got to do what Ashington does.
No, I haven't got to do anything at all, but it makes sense if you're going to do it, you do it the same as other allotment sites.
do you want, before I bring Brian in, do you want to have a further look at that and see if there's anything in it?
We can do, I mean, you can, you know, you've mentioned weekends there.
Yeah,
I mean, the allotment site I am on, they used to say, well, when we had it in the summer, you can only burn on the first weekend of the month. And that opens it up for people that may be working. Plus in the summer, your fires are a lot shorter and, you know, because of there's not the dampness, Chat will know, they burn a lot quicker.
right,
And so you don't have the inconvenience.
right, I've got Brian and then Anna.
Yeah, just a question, Stephen, sorry. It states in the report, it's a 90% verbal request for this policy to be changed from the tenants. Like, how many people asked?
Obviously, it came from, the chair and the secretary
Yeah.
from the allotment association, so obviously the 90% figure comes from them.
I mean, did they ask 10 people? You know what I mean, or did they ask everybody? That's what I would like to, you know, maybe say, a bit in-depth request of what they want. More, tenants, and then just you know, it could be the past 10 people and 9 of them said, yeah, and one was like, no, you know what I mean? So it's just to me, it's
Right.
just, we haven't got an
I
in-depth,
know what you're saying.
but you know, so how many people want it?
Can I just say here, should members agree to change the current policy, members would also have to consider when fires would be allowed. So it's really down to us to say, including set days and the hours that fires were allowed to ensure the policy was not being abused. The penalties of breaches would need to include the need to highlight the possibility of termination of penalty. So we can stipulate as to when the fires. So if we're going to say no to weekends, we should adhere to that. I'm going to bring Anna in first, though, but it's just something to think about. Anna?
I just think there is a lot of people who can only get to their allotments at weekends, and I think you're restricting those people. And I think currently on allotments, in my experience as an allotment holder, you've got a lot of respect within amongst your allotment holders. So I know my neighbour said to me, don't burn on a windy day. So we don't burn on a windy day. So that thing that Malcolm's just said about where you bring it in first Saturday of the month, it's blown a hoolie that weekend. Nobody's going to light a fire. That makes it. So, you know, I think it's about having that respect and the fact that I would say in the majority, most allotment holders are respectful and do it when they stay on site, burn the fires, do it when it's not a windy day. But for me, I do think it needs extending the period because at the moment it's the wettest months. So you are left with your rotten wood and your vegetable crops and your brambles, and they're left there. And at the time that they're dry is just that week when we're not allowed to burn at the moment. So yeah, it is frustrating, but I do think.
So from allotment holder, a bit more insight, a lot of elderly people use weekends. So, but it's down to us to put in where we think we should be doing the fires. As you remember, it's 365 days a year, but we don't need to do just that. But we can do it like monthly, 6 monthly, but just, yes, Daniel?
Yeah, I was gonna say, Chair, I think the trial period, as suggested in the report, is probably the best thing to go with. I don't want to have any complaints, and obviously, as you said, we've never received any at the time we've been doing it, but I think with us now gonna go for a full year, I think the trial period, just in case, you know, it would does arise because of wind conditions, we're burning in it, goes into someone's garden. You know, a lot of our allotments are around the estates as well.
Yeah.
So I don't wanna.
So can we stipulate
Trial period,
the trial period
as written in the report.
as written in the report? You don't want to amend anything else in there?
And that's, you know, we may as well follow the report, yeah?
Okay. Is that seconded? That's right? That's agreed by Grant and seconded by Daniel Thorpe. Okay, doke, thank you for that. Enforcement reports are being circulated on a monthly basis, but members are reminded that any queries should be raised with the town clerk upon receipt of reports. So. Okay, right, okay. I'm going back over, I'm having one of them moments. Anyway, that's the enforcement report, so we'll just note that. Play area number 7 is Cottonwood Green. Stevie, update?
Yes, again, obviously as presented, officers have carried out the survey of the 2 play areas in question, which we looked at was Cottonwood Green and Briardale. And the consensus was obviously Cottonwood Green probably needs the work doing to it. So obviously the indicative cost is £119,000 for to do that, and the officers recommend that would be the site to do. Obviously, as part of that, it would be a wet core surface as well, which I think most people recognise that's the best case surface for the areas. Obviously, it means the site can be used in most weathers.
Is that your report?
Yeah, and just the second part obviously was St John's Mugger. Obviously, we're in the process of getting quotations for that work at the moment. It's probably in the ballpark figure of about 10 to 15,000, and obviously that's just to repaint the the perimeter fence around it and improve the basketball nets. And as part of that, obviously, we'll be painting some five-a-side lines and basketball lines within the area.
Right,
Chair, could I ask for amendment to this? Because this isn't going to happen until after the election. You've got down Kitty Booster now. One of the play areas is going to end up in Coopen Ward, so it's not going to be Kitty Booster then. It'll be Coopen Ward.
so
Ideal.
we're but we're talking about the Cottonwood Green at the moment, aren't we?
It was just mentioned that.
Yeah, so you're looking at the whole report.
Yeah, I thought you should
Mm,
mention
one or the other.
as well.
Yeah,
Just that said there. But if the boundaries are changed, it's going to not going to be in Kitty Booster Ward. It's going to be in Coopen Ward.
mhm.
Well, yeah, we've had to write the report as of today, but acknowledge that the wards will change, but the where the facility's going will not change.
So when does it come into effect where you're going to be looking at Cottonwood Green though?
Well, obviously, if the council agree with that, obviously. then
If we agree the
we'll
whole
start
report, the
process.
recommendations.
Yeah, start the process, obviously.
So if we agree the recommendations to start, work will start on the Cottonwood Green. I mean, it doesn't matter who is in office in May, it'll not affect, the work has to go on.
Yeah, but it's stated there, Kitty Booster.
Sorry?
It's stated there, it's Kitty Booster.
That's so anti-Kitty Booster.
Oh, no. I think, Councillor Wojciechowski's from the area working with yourselves.
Chair, may I ask a question about the Bridal site? It was a strategic park belonging to the county council.
Mm-hmm.
Have we actually taken over that?
We did, didn't we?
Yeah, it's under our,
All the little parks are under the Blythetown Council.
There are two small parks that are under Blythetown Council, but the larger play area, I believe, is still in the responsibility of the county council. And there's done nothing with this big equipment there. It's just been left to sort of die.
No.
if you like.
Can I bring Greg in on this?
Yeah, I'm not aware in my time with the county council that has been a county council facility or like in the town council.
I'll come back on that one, then, Chair. I
Yeah,
was the leader, I had to pay for all my small teams to go strategic park.
Malcolm, do you want to come in on this? It's getting a bit of,
yeah.
you
I
won't.
know that we've got the responsibility of it and we checked it out, with the county council a number of years ago. And I cannot say why we had to check it out, but, we were assured that it is our responsibility. We've got a document to that degree as well.
You've been dumped then.
Right. So I'm going back to recommendations, and this is what we're recommending. That the committee resolve to agree which play area will be refurbished in 25-26, based on the recommendation of officers where the play areas at Cottonwood Green and Bridale have been further considered. Can we agree those two areas and we're looking to the
Yes,
rest?
I mean, obviously there's three play areas here, we've got to make a choice.
Mhm.
So we'll go for Cottonwood Green and the Mugger. If we get me section 106 money, we can do another one. But at the moment, we've only got £130,000 on the budget. That's
Mm,
enough for Cottonwood Green and probably for most of the one in Crossroads, but not enough for Bridale. So it's only if we've got section 106 money, we'll be able to do the third one. Yeah.
Sorry, Chair, when was Cottonwood Green last refurbed? Because it's quite, it looks quite a new park, it looks quite a nice park.
Chair, can I just say, we did actually have a timetable for all the play areas and all of the.
yeah, we need to get them out.
Certain days for when they're going to get done, so we're actually bringing these forward a bit now.
Yeah, well,
So we need to get a timetable of all the play parks of when they're in line to get refurbished, because we have had them.
yeah, we've got a 25-year capital programme.
Yeah.
For all of our 17,
Yeah.
18, 19 players. There are some gap years.
Because I've brought one forward,
Sorry?
because I've requested one forward. Because it's one of them gap years, so it'd be another gap year, wouldn't it?
But when officers were asked to look at a potential scheme for next year, we didn't have one earmarked. So we start to look at the ones just towards the end of this decade and the ones which perhaps needed refurbished greater than others. And the couple that we came up very quickly with was Cottingwood Green and the one at the Bridal Centre. So having looked at them further, we're putting at the front end of the report that we're asking you to consider the two which we think are the ones that need to be considered further. The officer's recommendation, as in the report, is Cottingwood Green, and it's the first option of Cottingwood Green, which is using the wet post surface as opposed to the other surface that we could have, and leave Briardale within a capital programme for a 2 or 3 years time, whatever it is.
And in John's recommendation is to bring in Cottonwood Green and the Mugger.
I'll second that.
Yeah, because the Mugger's never really been looked at all for years and years, so. So-
Through Chair, it
So-
really needs to be.
So for the amendment, can we say that it would be Cottonwood Green and the Mugger that's getting refurbished, is that agreed?
Yeah,
Well, that was good.
so if we get some section 106 money, then we could possibly do another one.
So
If,
John's right, if we can get any 106 money, then we can look at the others in that order.
Great.
Yeah, got that. Right. Right, we've done all that. Any other business? There's nothing's been reported. Date and time of next meeting. We haven't got a date yet, have we?
No, we're busy circulating the
Because we're going into the,
agendas for next.
we're going into Perth.
Dates for next year, so.
Okay, so, sorry but this is where we'll have to ask you to leave because we're going to part 2. If you don't mind, thank you very much. Hope you've enjoyed the meeting.
We have a little break in between or?
And do 5 minutes. Going into part 2, so we've got time to